hobby friends, and welcome to today's episode of Hobby Networking Group Tutorials. My name is David Baez, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about Beckett grading services and all of the options that are available for you. Before we get into it, please click on the like and subscribe button, visit thehobbynetworkgroup.com. Thanks so much, guys, and enjoy today's episode. Today, we're going to talk about BGS, the Beckett grading services, and all of the services that they offer for sports cards currently. So there's a couple things to go over. Again, this is more of a 101 tutorial for the beginner who's trying to understand maybe some of the differences between the other grading companies that are out there, PSA, SGC, but this one's only going to talk about BGS. So if you look at the screen right now, we're actually on the Beckett website, and we have currently what's available. And I say currently because I'm going to dive a little bit into something that is not showing here. But currently, this is what's available if you do subscribe to the Beckett Grading Services site. So you have four options available to you currently. The first one is Beckett Grading Services, or BGS. BGS is likely to be the most popular that you'll find on eBay and in any hobby auction houses. And the key points to take away from BGS is that you're going to get a full detailed grading system for any cards from 81 to present. They work on the half-point scale, obviously 10 being the highest. Very rare that you see, especially with vintage, a 10. So those are very, very, very low pop in general. If you look at they have their online population reports, you'll see what I mean, but not so uncommon with modern. But out of all the grading services, I would say a BGS 10 is by far and away the hardest to find. That's why a lot of times you'll see people selling 9.5s. Depending on the card, you'll see 9.5 showing up on eBay for comparable prices to 10s of their counterpart of PSA. So, but yeah, again, going back to BGS, it's on the half-point scale. And what makes BGS unique, another piece that makes it unique, is that it has four particular subgrades. On the picture there, you're not going to really be able to read out, but where my arrow is where you'll see the four subgrades. Now, the four subgrades on any card are going to be four key categories in the grading process, which is centering, surface, edging, and corners. So the four subgrades are what create the actual total score on top for that card. And basically, BGS uses an algorithm to determine what the actual score is going to be. And I'm going to touch on that now since we're already talking about it. But simply put, obviously, if it has four of the same exact number, that's a quite simple one. That's what's going to be the final grade. So 4 10s, it's a 10. But important to note, if you have 3 10s and one 9.5, your final grade will still be a 10. And that could be in any of the four subcategories, whether it's centering, corners, edges, or surface, doesn't matter. Your final grade would still be a 10. In a scenario where you have 2 10s and 2 9.5s, you will get the 9.5. In a scenario where you have 1 10, 2 9.5s, and a 9, you will also get the 9.5. So to get a 9, one of the scenarios for a 9, you can actually have a 10 as one of your subgrades and still get a 9. In that scenario, you'll likely have, one grade 10, another subgrade 9.5, and you can go as low as 8.5 on one category. But as long as the other ones have a 9, 9.5, and a 10, you'll end up with a final grade of 9. Again, those are just some of the examples on how that works. Another one is if you have like the 2 8s and the 2 8.5s, you'll end up with an 8. So, it's obviously quite a few different combinations out there, but you kind of get the gist of it from the few that I referenced on how the grading system works, specific to those four subgrade pieces, which are the centering, corners, edges, and surface. The last thing I'll say on this is that the color of the label is also a key point of differentiation between that and PSA as well as SGC. So on Beckett Grading Services, if you have a 9.5 or a 10, your label will be gold. If your grade is an 8.5 or a 9, your label will be silver. And anything lower than an 8.5, and you'll end up with like the whitish colored label, and the subgrades will actually appear on the rear of the card. So those are really the key points of differentiation on the BGS cards. Again, they're very different from its competition, and quite in depth, which makes their 10 that much rarer. Okay, so moving on, we have the BVG, and that's the Beckett Vintage Grading. BVG is basically for any cards that are 1980 and prior. So you also work on with a BVG on the half-point grading system. And again, the key thing to take note here is that BVG is focusing on any cards that are 1980 and prior. Not really much more to state on that. It's just for, I guess maybe this is just me talking here. I'm guessing there's a whole different group that handles the BVG grading process. So they've kind of segmented that business to its own grading naming system. I guess I guess they wanted to separate it from BGS. So that's what BVG is in a nutshell. You also see here you have the raw card review. The raw card review, as the name suggests, is if somebody is just looking to get a second opinion on their card and then try to have an idea of what it might grade, you can send it in for a raw card review. Again, this is me talking speculation. I think the only time you'll get customers using a raw card review would likely be if they really if the pricing is that far off between one grader or another. Maybe somebody just wants to kind of get it in, get it to BGS and get a second opinion, say, all right, this we really feel is a 9. They might flip it back and say, all right, well, I want this graded. It's kind of wacky. You hear me hesitating because it kind of sounds wacky to me to do that. It's like, just get it and grade it and see what it comes. And if you don't like it, just, get it sub somewhere else, or just make it raw again, take it out of the slab. So I think that raw card review, best value in my personal opinion, might be for someone who literally collects raw and they just like their cards unslabbed, but they want to know more or less what it might be. So okay, in that case, you get it and a professional tells you it's about a 9, and you still want to put it in a binder, I guess, or some different holder that isn't a slab. Well, at that point, maybe the raw card review becomes of value to you. That's raw card review. And the last piece is the new single grade service that you see here on the bottom. Really, the key point of differentiation here is that you don't get the subgrades. So this really falls into the world of SGC and PSA. You're just getting one card and you're getting one grade. It's a 9.5, but you won't see on the label exactly why, if it was centering, corner, edges and or surface that got you to that 9.5. You're just getting the 9.5. So this is kind of falling into the more traditional, what we're used to from the PSAs and the SGCs of the world. So those are the four pieces, the 4 grading processes. There is one asterisk that I was mentioning in the beginning of the video, and that's BCCG. BCCG was the Beckett Card Collectors Grading, I believe is what it stands for. You're going to see some out there. God, I wish I can give you some detailed history behind that. I know that was specific to, they came up with BCCG for, those larger bulk subs. And, through the forums that I've read through the years, a lot of people were suggesting that was kind of put together for grading cards that were hitting the, especially like some junk wax cards that were kind of hitting the, I don't know, the home shopping networks of the world and some other outlets of sales that are, let's call it non-traditional and for the hobbyists. And it was basically to give it, I guess, another level of validity or in terms of people paying certain price points for those cards. So again, this is just what I've been reading on the sites. Many folks aren't really 100% clear why they went that route. And I'm, going on the site, I noticed, it's not even available or it doesn't really talk about it. So my guess at this point is they've kind of moved away from that. And somebody who's much deeper into BCCG world, in the Beckett world rather, can probably answer that officially. But I think I speak for a lot of hobbyists when I say good riddance, because me personally, I didn't touch or didn't pay a premium for any BCCG cards based on the lack of stellar reputation that it had. So that's neither here nor there. For the purposes of this tutorial, again, we're just focusing on what's available, to you currently. And I really just wanted to briefly touch on the history in case somebody says, hey, well, what about that? I've seen it on eBay or whatever. Yeah, they're still out there, but just note that that's not part of the current offerings. These are your current offerings. And I explained already everything in detail on the different variables on a BGS card. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. So if you're interested in BGS grading, just like the other sites, it's just a matter of signing up, selecting your service, and away you go, following the procedures. And in the future, I'll go into detail on how to submit cards. But that's pretty much it. You see there's other services that are available, non-gaming. You have comics. Beckett is now playing in that world. And if you go on their website, you see above beckett.com/grading /compared our services, you're going to find all of this information. So you have a lot of different miscellaneous grading and the pricing for those service levels available right here on the site. So I hope this was useful to you guys. Thanks, and talk to you next time.
Thanks for watching today's episode, guys. Before you go, real quick, if you could click that like button and that subscribe button for me, I will greatly appreciate it, guys. It's just going to help grow the hobby networking group, and I promise I'm going to keep on bringing that awesome content your way. I'll be watching those comments. Let me know what you guys want, and I will do my best to deliver, guys. Thank you so much. Very humble for your time. Very appreciative. Go on hobbynetworkgroup.com. You'll see we're on Twitter. We are on Instagram. Very soon on Facebook, as well as podcasts to come super soon. And I'll share those links on the website. Thanks again, guys, and have a great day. Take care.